Have you ever had that moment? You forget some simple fact, and without even thinking, your hand is already reaching for your phone to look it up. It kind of feels like our brains are permanently plugged into the internet now, right? But what is that constant connection actually doing to our memory? Not just for us as individuals, but for all of us as a society. So let's dig in and explore what this digital dependency is really doing to our minds.
It's funny. It turns out our modern-day panic about technology ruining our brains, it's not new at all. Go back over 2,000 years and you'll find Socrates worried about the exact same thing. The only difference? His scary new technology was writing itself. It's a debate that's literally as old as civilization. Does technology help us remember, or does it just give us an excuse to forget? So in this explainer, we're going to trace that ancient question all the way into the digital age. We'll start by looking at how the internet has basically become our external brain. Then we'll decode the famous Google effect. After that, we have to confront the terrifying possibility of a digital dark age. But don't worry, we'll also meet the digital librarians who are fighting back. And finally, we'll peek into a future where memory could mean something completely different.
Okay, so let's start with a feeling we all know really well. That tiny little gap in your knowledge, and that irresistible urge to fill it with a quick search. This idea actually comes from a landmark 2011 study that first really looked at our relationship with search engines. Researchers found that when people were stumped by a tough question, their minds were already primed to think about computers. It's not even a conscious choice anymore, it's a reflex. The internet isn't just a tool we use. It's become the very first place our minds go when we hit a wall. And this reflex, it leads us to this really fascinating psychological shift that scientists have a great name for: the Google effect. So, what does that actually mean? Well, in essence, our brain has learned that it doesn't need to waste energy storing the actual information, as long as it knows it can easily look it up later. The internet is acting as what psychologists call a transactive memory, basically a shared memory system that exists outside our own heads. It's like we all have access to this one giant collective hard drive. And this reveals a really cool cognitive trade-off. The original study found that people didn't really remember a trivia fact if they knew it was saved on a computer. But they were surprisingly good at remembering which folder it was saved in. So the key takeaway here isn't that we're getting dumber. It's that we're reorganizing how we remember. We're prioritizing the pathway to a fact over the fact itself. It's a really powerful idea, right? It made a ton of headlines. But in science, the real test is always replication. So what happens when other scientists try to repeat these experiments? Well, this is where the story gets a little more complicated. First off, that scary term you might have heard, digital amnesia. Yeah, that was actually invented by a cybersecurity company's marketing department, not by scientists. And when other researchers tried to replicate the original Google effect studies, they got mixed results. Sometimes the effect was there, but only under very specific conditions. The honest truth is, the science is still pretty young, and we don't have a final, clear verdict on exactly how our digital tools are reshaping the memory inside our skulls. But this entire system we've built, this new way of remembering where instead of what, it has one catastrophic flaw. What happens when the where just disappears? This is where the problem goes from our individual brains to a massive, massive risk for our entire civilization's memory. This is a phenomenon called link rot, and the scale of it is just staggering. I mean, think about that. Nearly half of the web pages that were linked to just 10 years ago are gone. Our vast external brain, the one we've come to depend on completely, is literally quietly rotting away. To make this huge, abstract problem feel a little more real, let's do a little thought experiment. Let's imagine a historian in the year 2080. We'll call her Nina. And she's trying to understand our time. So her grandfather, he was in Syria during the Arab Spring, and he used his phone for everything, to talk to family, to document the protests. This phone isn't just some old piece of junk, it's a priceless historical artifact. It's a direct window into a pivotal moment in human history. And here is the tragedy. Nina can't access a single thing. The hardware is incompatible, the software is totally obsolete, the cloud services it connected to are long gone. Her grandfather's entire lived experience from that time has just vanished into unreadable digital dust. This is the digital dark age, the very real potential for our entire era's history to just disappear. It's a pretty terrifying prospect, isn't it? But thankfully, there are people out there, archivists, librarians, computer scientists, who are working incredibly hard to make sure Nina's story doesn't become our reality. Their mission is called digital preservation, and it's not just about backing up your files. It's an active, ongoing process of managing digital information to make sure it can survive all the changing technologies, file formats, and systems.
So how on earth do you solve a problem this big? Well, major institutions like the U.S. National Archives, or NARA, they use what's called a risk-based approach. First, they just try to figure out everything they have. Then, they identify which file formats or systems are in the most danger of becoming obsolete. And finally, they create specific action plans to migrate and protect that at-risk data before it's gone for good.
And a powerful new ally has joined this fight: artificial intelligence. As Professor Jane Winters explains, archives of stuff that was created digitally from day one, like, say, the entire UK web space, are just too massive for humans to sort through alone. AI can come in, clean it up, organize it, and make these immense collections searchable, unlocking history on a scale we've literally never seen before.
But, and this is a huge but, AI is a double-edged sword. We saw this really clearly with the Google Gemini controversy, where the AI was generating historically inaccurate images, even changing the racial features of people. This isn't just some little glitch. It's a massive warning sign that the same tools we might use to preserve history could just as easily be used to distort it, whether it's on purpose or not.
And this brings us to the future, where our relationship with the past might be on the verge of its most radical transformation yet. We could be moving beyond just saving records to actually recreating experiences.
First, you've got this emerging idea of digital immortality. The theory is, using the massive amounts of data we all leave behind, AI could potentially create a version of us that continues to interact with the world long after we're gone. A passive memory page that becomes an active conversational presence.
And it's not just about individual memory. Think about our collective history. Technologies like virtual reality are moving way beyond just showing us old photos. Projects like Arnswold VR have used historical records to painstakingly recreate an entire Polish town that was destroyed in World War II. You can literally walk its streets today. Memory is no longer just something you read about, it's becoming a place you can actually go.
This quote from a thesis about VR in education it really brings it all home. Most of us, we know our ancestors through a few faded photos, some family stories. But our descendants, they might have a completely different, almost first-hand relationship with us. And so that leaves us with this final, kind of profound question. When memory shifts from being a static record to an interactive simulation, what does it even mean to remember someone anymore? What our digital legacies will truly be, well, that's something we're all just beginning to figure out.